Hello, everyone. Welcome to our live stream on HMI and XR prototyping. We're thrilled to have you join us today. Before we start, please let us know where you're joining from. So head over to the chat and let us know where you're tuning in. I'm currently based in South Korea, Seoul. It's a very nice fall evening here. Yeah, I enable chat for everyone, so you should be able to. I see Alexander, Anouk, Anthony, Arthur, Francesca, Lexi joining. Wouter. Hi, Saptak from Bangalore, India. Hi, Tom. Hi, Alexander from Germany. Hello. Yeah. William, Vince, Jubilee, Jion from Korea. Hi, Jion. Hi, Anthony. Okay, we have quite a big group, and I see that there are people who are still joining us. Okay, let's continue. My name is Yulia, and I'll be your host for today's session. Today, I'm joined by my colleague, Karan Bhatt, Business Development Manager here at ProtoPie. Karan, please say hello to the audience.
Hi, everyone.
Thank you.
Sorry, yeah, really glad to be here. Hope everyone enjoys the webinar and look forward to hearing some feedback at the end.
Definitely. Thank you, Karan. I'm excited to introduce today's guest speakers from Granstudio. Granstudio is a leading design consultancy specializing in innovative mobility solutions. First up, we have Claudia Wormas, a software developer and project team member at Granstudio. Claudia, would you like to say hi?
Hi, hello everyone.
Thanks for joining, Claudia. Next, joining us is Lukasz Czekanowski, Chief Interaction Designer at Granstudio. Lukasz, feel free to greet the audience.
Hello, everyone. Glad to be here.
Thank you for joining us, Lukasz. And finally, we have Cecilia Ronaldo, Marketing and Communication Specialist at Granstudio. Cecilia, please say hello to everyone.
Hello, everyone. Glad to be here too.
Glad to have you here, Cecilia. Granstudio is known for pushing the boundaries of human-machine interface and mobility design, and today we're featuring their expertise on HMI and XR prototyping. Let's give them a warm welcome. Okay, now that we're all set, let's take a quick look at today's agenda. First, Lukasz from Granstudio will take us through transforming HMI and XR prototyping at Granstudio to design complete and seamless car experiences. Then we'll hear from Karan, who will dive into ProtoPie benefits for car UX prototyping, showcasing how ProtoPie can help bring those experiences to life. Finally, we'll wrap up the Q&A session, where Lukasz, Claudia, and Cecilia will be here to answer your questions and discuss any insights from today's presentations. It is going to be a very exciting session, so I encourage you to stay tuned and ask your questions during the presentations in Zoom's Q&A window, and we will cover them at the end. Okay, now let's hear from Claudia and Lukasz about how Granstudio creates seamless car experiences with HMI and XR prototyping. I'll stop my share and I will ask you to share your screen, Lukasz.
All right, so let's start sharing. Please let me know if you can see.
Yep, we can see your screen.
All right, great. So again, hello everyone. We are really excited to share how we approach XR prototyping to design complete and seamless car experiences. And also we'll discuss the crucial role of ProtoPie that plays in this process now. So we'll talk about our workflow, including XR prototyping, and how our process has evolved after integrating ProtoPie. So we will also show you how it looked a little bit before also. And then let's, just jump into another slide. So I assume that many of you may not have the chance to hear about Granstudio yet. So we'll take a moment to change that. We are an international creative consultancy that helps brands and organizations succeed within the future mobility context. And we are a team of over 65 experts combining excellence and efficiency. So our headquarters are located in Turin, Italy, at the heart of Italian automotive industry. And we also have a small but really innovative branch in Kortrijk, Belgium. So to give you a clear idea of what we do, on the slide that you see now, we try to illustrate that we cover like the full spectrum of mobility design with a strong focus on automotive sector. So you can see here a lot of images actually we design from cars, so trucks, tractors, agricultural vehicles, but also more mobility solutions and in general like urbanistic plans. So and of course, on the other hand, we also focus more on the experiences, the whole interaction, and whatever you do inside your car. So about Granstudio's approach, so our work is divided into three main disciplines, and all focused on UX-driven design approach. So you can see, they're in the middle, that it's covering the full range of mobility design. What sets us apart is not just our expertise in each area, but how we work in the overlap between each of them. So by connecting these disciplines, we offer like a truly unique 360 mobility design services. And it's this point is really crucial to understand how we are organized, because you will see this reflection of the reflection of this philosophy also in our HMI design approach. So now we'll focus more on interaction design at Granstudio. So we design both car interiors and exteriors and HMI systems, and we are making sure that the interface flows perfectly with the car's overall design. So they're like perfectly integrated, and our transdisciplinary approach helps us create unique and multi-dimensional car experiences that stand out. So we've got a UX-driven process that covers everything. So from user research to design development. And with that, we adapt it to fit whatever the project needs. So now jumping more into the phygital approach. So we know that this word phygital is not that much popular, but we are giving it like a second chance here. So because it perfectly describes, how we work, especially in terms of XR prototyping. So as I mentioned, we specialize in automotive design, providing complete solutions from concept to production by blending physical and digital expertise. So we also develop our own XR design tools and software that combines physical and digital elements to help us design better, faster, and cheaper. So this is like another kind of overlap and something that derives from our expertise and influences the way how we work and how we try to be also innovative and stand out. So to give you an example of our tools, our basically flagship XR prototyping tool is called Digiphy. And it's a unique mixed reality design and communication tool that combines digital and physical elements into an immersive design approach. So this is the platform. So what you see on the image, actually, it's a platform that is powered by over 25 engines and can adapt to any vehicle layout. So from really low sports cars to trucks and buses, and so also like it's like huge range of different car layouts that it can adapt to. And everything is aligned with virtual reality, making it an excellent foundation for testing both the low and high resolution prototypes. So it's like the whole system. So it's not only the physical thing, but the whole combination of the virtual and physical blending together in the perfect alignment. So we developed that in-house, but we could talk a lot about this tool. But today we will focus more on HMI XR prototyping. So if you are interested to know more about Digiphy, just invite you to just scan QR code that you see on the screen, and there you will get way more information. So moving on to our design workflow, let's focus now on why we chose ProtoPie and how we use it. So, as I mentioned earlier, in the interaction design team, one of our competences is HMI design, where we apply our transdisciplinary approach. Typically, depending on the project, we conduct design sprints where we work on the UX concepts and using various tools. It's during this phase that new HMI ideas emerge, blending physical and digital styling opportunities. So up until now, our fundamental tools in the process have included, Creative Cloud software such as After Effects, XD, or Photoshop. Also, along with Figma, so more for UI, and then even Unreal Engine. And for the physical prototypes, we'll be using Arduino. So one of the key elements of our HMI design workflow is XR prototype, which can be applied at any stage of the project. So it's important that, here we underline that it goes from definition, design to the development. Like throughout the whole process, we can apply this. And it's basically built on three components: physical prototypes, interactive VR, and digital prototypes. So just quickly looking at them, so the combination of these elements allows us to for a complete in-cabin experience design. But looking more into focusing more on each one of them, basically starting from physical prototypes, we use them to simulate and verify ergonomics and touch and feel for key sections. So wherever we know that we are gonna have a physical input or even output, we try to cover it with the physical properties, and also that helps us to assess material configurations, also embedded lighting, so real lighting, and see like how they interact with each other, and also we can embed interactive devices. It's really essential for a comprehensive understanding the design. Then the next part is interactive VR. So it's basically like a huge support in evaluating the in-cabin experience, verifying space and interactions in a specific context. So that's also crucial because here we ensure that we are doing like context-aware design, and this really aids to take more informed decisions, by designers. So with these VR simulations, we can really create like scenarios, use cases, like traffic situations, weather conditions, time of the day. So it gives us like the whole context within which we can test our design. And then, of course, the third one, so last but not least, so the key interactive element normally is like this prototype of the screen, so or the screens, so the multiple ones. So that's like a very key element. And here we were looking for like flexible software, because that's essential to enable designers, to be free with their creativity. So here, then just focusing more on these digital prototypes, we are coming to ProtoPie. So after testing really various programs, we concluded that ProtoPie is the missing link that offers the flexibility we needed, along with great performance, smooth interactions, the whole movement, everything feels like rich, so we can really curate the interactions and the behaviors, but it still remains simple enough for designers to create their own prototypes without coding. So that was also crucial, for us, that we can have this kind of complex systems, but still it's it's something you can actually reach. You can do it. So, and another thing is, so thanks to ProtoPie's excellent connectivity, we were able to seamlessly integrate it with the rest of our digital design ecosystem. So now I will give my word to Claudia, and she will describe better, the functions and how we use ProtoPie.
So let's go through some of the key features that have transformed our workflow, making it more efficient, flexible, and powerful. It's obvious that the most frequently used functions when creating prototypes are triggers and responses. This is the most basic way to interact with interfaces, and ProtoPie provides a very simple system for creating these functions. And to give you an example, imagine how useful it is to use different touch triggers to reduce cognitive load while driving. It's important to minimize distractions, and assigning a specific function to a trigger can help with that. The use of formulas and variables gives us flexibility and efficiency when building dynamic prototypes. This allows us to create more customizable and responsive interactions without adding unnecessary complexity. With ProtoPie, we can easily prototype adaptive interfaces that respond intelligently to user inputs or external conditions. For example, we can track which user profile is currently active, and using variables, the system can automatically adjust settings based on the active profile, ensuring a personalized experience every time. As voice technology becomes more important in the car, ProtoPie supports voice prototyping, letting us integrate and simulate voice commands in our prototypes. This is essential for creating natural, hands-free interactions that improve safety and usability in the vehicles. Imagine a driver adjusting the navigation or controlling the media system just by using the voice. ProtoPie lets us prototype these voice interactions and see how well they work with the rest of the system. Both ProtoPie Cloud and ProtoPie Player are key tools that make our workflow smoother. With ProtoPie Cloud, sharing prototypes across teams is effortless. Everyone can leave feedback directly in the prototype, helping us improve faster and making sure everyone is aligned before moving forward. At the same time, ProtoPie Player allows us to test these prototypes on real devices without needing any coding. We can see how the interaction feels, check touch responses, and adjust timing or animations to make everything run smoothly. ProtoPie Connect lets us combine microcontrollers and external devices into our prototypes, allowing us to test physical components with a digital interface. We can also connect multiple screens and devices by making sure everything works together smoothly. For example, we can easily move widgets between the cluster and have unique screens in our prototype. And this simulates how user might interact with different displays in the car.
All right, thanks, Claudia, for this overview. So we discussed three key elements that enable us to design complete cabin experiences, and also how we use ProtoPie to do that. And we develop tools that integrate these 2D prototyping software with a gaming engine and physical prototypes, allowing to enhance HMI design through real-time testing. So the system perfectly aligns the physical and digital realms, keeping everything synchronized. Thanks to these, we are able to create future HMI interactions to go beyond only automotive applications. This phygital design approach is prime example of how overlaps can create unique connections to drive innovation. So that is really something that I was talking before about, like this reflecting philosophy of the whole studio also on our approach. So now we'll move on onto the demo that we created for an event that brought together numerous car makers, HMI specialists, and suppliers. And this demo is a perfect example of how our approach works in practice. So it combines all the elements we discussed, showing how they seamlessly integrate to enhance the HMI experience. And now I will show you a short video where you will see like briefly, the whole process and also how it works in action. Okay, great. So now on this slide, you can see a list of features that we managed to cover in a single demo. So thanks to this type of simulation, designers receive a valuable input, enabling them to make much more informed decisions, as I mentioned before. And then rather than relying solely on what they see on their computer screens, they can simulate various scenarios and become much more aware of the context for which they are designing. So here, we made some chapters and use cases where we try to, walk through the whole interior experience and user. So, he can see, and, here we used also a lot of interfaces made actually with ProtoPie, including phone interface. So that's another nice application that we used ProtoPie not only for making prototype of the interface of the car, but also to create the whole experience of testing or presenting. We used interface made with ProtoPie just to control every element, and because we developed our link also with the other elements, so the physical properties and the virtual reality that really allowed us to guide through the whole experience users that also people who never used VR before. That's super helpful. Then, of course, we had we covered here with this prototype also topic of color and trim, so that gives that added value to create the physical elements. So, that's also a great way to combine virtual reality and physical settings in the material. Okay, so our digital tools enable the creation of holistic vehicle experiences by seamlessly integrating physical models with digital simulations. And these tools allow our team to interact with vehicles in more intuitive and immersive way, helping us to refine and integrate our concepts quickly. So digital models are also invaluable for customer testing, providing potential users with a realistic and interactive experience. The feedback gathered from this process is essential for making data-driven design decisions and enhancing user satisfaction. And lastly, these tools are also highly effective for presentation purposes. So our projects vary greatly, but they all share a focus on putting the user at the center and considering the context in which they will interact. So when it comes to innovating, our design approach serves as our foundation. Here comes XR prototyping as an ultimate tool for design and validation, and ProtoPie is an integrated part of that. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much for the great insights into your HMI design and prototyping process. Lukash and Claudia. Okay, before we kick off the Q&A, Karan will briefly walk us through the powerful benefits of ProtoPie for automotive UX prototyping. I invite you to share your screen, Karan, and yeah, we look forward to hearing your insights.
Perfect. Sharing my screen, can everyone see?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, Yulia and the Granstudio team. I hope everyone's enjoying the webinar so far. I'm Karan, one of the business development managers here at ProtoPie, and would be going over briefly how to use ProtoPie for car UX prototyping. So ProtoPie benefits for car UX prototyping. One of the benefits is the ability to use custom hardware integrations for in-car and seating bug testing. So ProtoPie allows you to test automotive UX and HMI with ProtoPie in your own seating buck or saving on engineering resources. But that's not all. We work across multi-device experiences. So you can use the send and receive cross-device and cross-screen interactions that can be created with zero code. You can utilize our ProtoPie player to easily demonstrate on iOS and Android devices. Another benefit of using ProtoPie for your UX prototyping is our VR, AR, XR prototyping, which allows you to embed your prototypes into 3D scenes, which means you can quickly test and iterate your VR, AR, XR design. We also have the ability for multimodal interactions. You can utilize the likes of utilizing real maps and voice interactions, touch interactions, and gesture control, which allows you to create experiences with 3D map embeds and the likes of voice recognition. However, we're not limited to utilizing APIs and driving simulators, which allows you to read signals from the likes of steering wheels, seats, and lights. Using our ProtoPie Connect to connect to an API will sort of enrich and extend the boundary of your prototypes in real-time data. These are some examples of automotive prototypes. With APIs being able to access for such a broad range of use cases utilizing ProtoPie, sort of to integrate with gesture control. So on the first example, we'll see sort of dynamic hand tracking. We'll also see integration with the likes of eye tracking and even head tracking. The second example is many companies want to utilize 3D prototyping by utilizing Unity to showcase their car designs. Designers can utilize ProtoPie to talk to Unity to showcase their designs that interact dynamically. And the third example we have is a step beyond Unity showcase, which is real-time telemetry data, which is inputted directly into your prototype from the car. And we use Connect to send the message data to tell the prototype to adjust dynamically in real time. ProtoPie is used across many industries, not just HMI UX. Here's some reasons why some of our users love ProtoPie. Without ProtoPie, the feedback we have is they've had longer design cycles, lack of interactivity, limited user testing, with higher cost of mistakes. And then from utilizing ProtoPie, they've been able to reduce their project cycle by half. They've been able to iterate and validate faster, having more efficient developer handoff, and the ability to conduct more effective user testing. If there's any features that caught your attention or you'd like to learn more, then please scan the QR code on the screen or reach out to one of the team at enterprise@protopie.io, or you can visit our website. I can see a few questions have been asked, so we'll move to the Q&A section of the webinar.
Thank you, Karen, for sharing these great insights into what makes ProtoPie a solid choice when it comes to automotive UX prototyping and design. Okay, now it's time for the much awaited Q&A session. So I will be opening the Q&A window, and yeah, we will try to answer as many questions as possible. First of all, thank you for sending in such great questions. I had the chance to go through all of them. So we'll start from the top. And the first question comes from AD Stin. So yeah, with vehicles zero canvas, how much vehicle information intake do you need to properly begin the human-centered research portion? I assume certain vehicle types, like production passenger vehicles, may be more standard to process than novel and prototype vehicles. And what kind of vehicles experts do you utilize in creating prototypes that fit the context of a given project? So this question has several questions. The first is about the research, and then yeah, what's your process? Lucas, Claudia, or Cecilia, whoever wants to cover this question.
So the best to me would be just to have this question in front of me. So then they're like,
If you click on the Q&A in your option bar.
I see.
Yeah,
Okay.
Very first from AD Steen.
Yes, I see. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So basically, that's of course a very good question, and I see that someone has a good understanding of the process. So what we do in our interaction design team, and today our presentation was more about the part that comes a little bit after the whole research, you know. So of course, in the core of our competences is always like in the middle, this human-centered approach, and then we have the whole research, and of course, as a consultancy, it's not that we have one unique way of approaching certain projects. So I would like to explain better. So
maybe you can talk a little bit about how the team works. So they're asking about what kind of vehicle experts do you utilize. So I'm assuming AD means like the team.
Of course, it always starts from extensive trend and market research. We are doing a lot of benchmarking, and we have our teams like a part of Granstudio's team. So working on that, then we are doing also extensive field research and including user and customer testing. So that whole part, it's actually a huge foundation and takes a big part before we start actually jumping into interaction. So basically today we are talking more about XR prototyping, which is already like a result of very long research now. So yes, we have inside our studio competence that can actually cover like the whole research, and covering from the context aware approach, and then also being concentrated on the user experience.
Thank you, Lucas. I hope this answers your question. Okay, let's continue with the next question coming from Tim Bowles. Tim is asking, can ProtoPie be integrated with other tools or software commonly used in automotive design? Now, I know you covered that in your presentation, but please elaborate a little bit about how ProtoPie integrates with your tools and softwares.
Maybe again I will answer this question. So ProtoPie, yes, of course, would be integrated with other tools and software. And as well, so our the system that we created inside it really relies on flexibility and adaptability to various tools. And the whole core of this idea was to let designers keep using their favorite tool for designing and basically not limit their creativity. And same goes for ProtoPie. And so we could imagine that that it could be integrated with also other softwares, the other that I mentioned before. Of course, that and we created our own process based on the softwares that we just touched during the presentation. But also I think it could be more a question to ProtoPie side if you can more expand on that question.
Okay, so to piggyback a little bit on that question, Vincent is asking, can you talk about the challenges about linking all of these prototype environments and technologies together? What are some challenges that you met so far? Or you cannot think of any challenges? Can you hear me?
Could you repeat? We
Oh.
just lost you.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, right. So Vincent is asking, can you talk about the challenges about linking all of these prototype environments and technologies together?
Yes. So that was the biggest challenge, of course, how to merge everything together. And so we worked inside our studio with actually, you know, gathering designers and software developers. And I mean, this is again talking about overlaps. So this whole uniqueness and the biggest challenge that we had was sitting in this combination. And so basically the main challenge, and here ProtoPie, it was really well, it made like everything way more easy because, you know, it's connectivity. I mean, it helped a lot to be integrated in this kind of, you know, VR environments, because, you know, the part of digital and virtual simulations we already developed within our team, software team, and, you know, the Digiphy, so the tool that we described, we talked about, you know, it's a representation of that. But what was missing was that key element of the interfaces, you know, and how to integrate them into that, and how they can speak between each other, you know, so how they influence each other. And yes, so basically we found a way, so it works. I mean, we are doing demos, we are using for user testing, and it's efficient enough to really give you a lot of good insights, and, you know, just enrich the whole design process. So yeah, I would say that the challenge was there, but I mean that ProtoPie's connectivity, I think it was crucial to make it possible.
Thank you, Lucas. Vincent, I hope this answers your question about the challenges. Okay, we have a question more general related to HMI and XR prototyping. So can you talk about the major trends you're seeing in the future of HMI and XR prototyping for the automotive industry? Thank you. Thank you for joining.
Sheila, do you want to answer this question?
Yes, of course. So, well, I will talk more from a design perspective. So, what actually we're seeing in XR prototyping for HMI design, say the main trend that actually we're trying to translate every day in Granstudio is the integration of different tools in one single environment that allows designers to really experience their design, so close to reality as possible. So to recreate this full in-cabin experience, to really immerse in their design. And well, this actually allows to reduce costs and time to market, because it allows designers to do a series of iterative loops of design tests and prototypes. And actually now designers, I'd say that test their design just on 2D screen, but actually we think that the future is going to be more, as we said before, phygital. So the integration with this virtual environment and physical environment actually enable designer to really experience their design firsthand. So I don't know if I answer the question in the most comprehensive way, but I think this is the main trend that actually we see, and we are trying to express at best here in Granstudio.
Right. Yeah, thank you so much, Cecilia. Yeah, definitely it's about connectivity, interconnectivity, and yeah, no, thank you for answering this question. And thank you for sending such great questions that make us think and reflect. Next question comes from Yuan Tian. Can you talk about how ProtoPie improves collaboration between designers, developers, and other stakeholders at Granstudio?
Okay, so I think using the ProtoPie cloud and the ProtoPie player, you can provide a first draft of your prototype to a client, to a user, do a fast user testing every time you change something. You can also provide fast feedback to them. And yeah, I don't know. You want to add something else?
Yeah, I mean, like we find again this connectivity. I mean, it worked very well. So also it comes that from our clients, we can very quickly share the progress that we are doing, and help them also test the prototypes and show prototypes to potential clients. So also it can be used to convince other people, so we can work on the prototype, and then our customer can very quickly go and actually verify with their potential customers, so it's like a chain effect that actually with ProtoPie works very, very efficiently. So yes, it's very collaborative also.
Right. Do you also use ProtoPie, the handoff feature? Do you use it to work with developers? I'm curious. That's my personal curiosity.
Yes, of course. I mean, and that's another thing. Like when we do like handoff, I mean I mean it gives a lot of information to developers. So I mean, yeah, actually, sure, I forgot about this important thing. So because we are so much in design concentrated just on this code-free making prototypes, but then it has to be also later translated. So and really supports further development of designers' idea, and that helps to better follow up the whole project development.
Thank you. Great project. Can you elaborate a bit more on the features of the bug? That is, how is VR used together with a physical object? What do I see in VR that I don't see in the real model? I'm guessing they're talking about the demo that you showed, Lucas.
Yes. So, I mean, you can see a lot actually in virtual reality. And so on the sitting back, as I mentioned during the presentation, we are always creating these physical touch points, and that's very important. But also worth to mention is that our sitting back, so the Digiphy, allows you to adapt in real time the position. I mean, to different ergonomics, different packages of different layouts of the cars. So you can very quickly compare between different cars. So you can imagine that at one moment you are sitting in the like crazy concept car or your own project, and then you want to compare it with any other existing car, and very quickly you can just switch to ergonomics of these cars, and but in VR still you will see like also the change of the whole content. So the platform itself is like the base that it's needed to give you the all in needed feedback, like physical feedback. Then you are wearing the VR goggles where you can actually see the whole context, the whole interior, so you know in which car you're sitting on. But this whole beauty of the system is that in real time you can very quickly switch between different cars. And also with ProtoPie, what we are doing a lot is compare like reverse engineering some of the existing interfaces and then comparing with our original designs. So that gives like huge benchmark, and in both. So whatever you see on the physical screen. So we are mounting on Digiphy like the physical screens, and on them we are running the ProtoPie prototypes. But then they are also reflected exactly the same content is reflected in a virtual reality. So you can see, and they're perfectly aligned. So that's also like something that we developed, this perfect alignment. So you're precisely in the same place, so you can interact with the real physical screen, seeing the real content in virtual reality, and also how it speaks with other elements, other components of the car. So I mean, it's a very complex system which lets you really immerse a lot with your design. So it's like full simulation, but it doesn't require from people from the customers or creating these super complex and expensive models. But you can basically like simulate everything. And what we give with the physical bug is only needed physical support that can always adapt. And the last thing to add to it, of course, what you see in VR in addition to that, it's of course the whole context. So you can put your design, your car, or also benchmarks. You can compare within like different contexts. So city, where you can check visibility. You can do all these visual comparisons. So I mean, it's a huge topic. So that's why I didn't want to expand during the presentation on that because that would take like hours to explain how extensive this whole tool is.
Thank you, Lukasz, for such a detailed answer. Fahad is asking, is it possible to create gesture and haptic interfaces solely using the ProtoPie tool without the need for external devices?
So, of course, I think that it's partially between ProtoPie answering and us. Of course, from our experience, working with these gestures, I mean, we are always trying to get as close as to the production cars also, but integrating some hardware. So if you imagine that, part of these physical elements, so we also mentioned interactive devices. So sometimes you need to put a sensor, for example, if you want to read the gesture. Sometimes you can use just your phone to scan your face or track the motion. Sometimes there are like more elaborated devices, but normally you would need at least from our perspective, like at least piece of hardware that would get this kind of input, to work with gestures. Unless our friends from ProtoPie want to add something.
Yeah, so the answer is that, we do have support for native sensors such as haptic, tilt, vibrate. But for instance, if you create an interaction that has those types of responses, you can test that on your device, on your phone. So you will be able to have your phone vibrate, have like tilt interactions, but yeah, you would need an external device to feel those interactions, right? Okay, I hope this answers your question, Fahad. Let's move on. Someone is asking, could any of you guys provide suggestions on how to transition from a UI UX designer to a HMI designer role? Maybe you can share from your experience. I don't know what your your process has been like to get in this role, but feel free to share any insights, any tips.
I can't find the question.
So can you X out of the Q&A window and open it again, Lukasz?
Yes, okay, yeah. So that will be the first one, right? On the top.
It's anonymous.
Yes, okay, I see. Okay, so how to transition from UI UX to HMI designer? I think it's not that far at the end. So of course it's first of all, it's not necessary that you need to be UI or UX designer to become a HMI designer. So you can be also other type of or have the other type of the design background. But of course, it always will go like come from your say like your approach. So as I said, it's not far because you're working a lot on the something that is concentrated on the human, on the user, and I mean the interaction is there. We are working with a lot of hierarchies there and interconnections between different elements. So the crucial thing here, especially, at least that's what we believe in Granstudio, is that and to me, I think that would make the most of the difference is that HMI, we don't see only as a content on the screen, but it's more like this whole interface that embraces and it can even go outside of the car if we are talking about, of course, automotive HMI. So I think differences like UX and UI is a good base because of course you will need to have this understanding of ergonomics, like this visual ergonomics, the right readability, and you need to respect same rules. But the difference, I think, in automotive HMI is that your context is way more dynamic, and the principles are different when you are designing because here the major the requirements are safety and that you reduce the distraction of the driver. So there are a lot of aspects that you need to respect, and they are not the same that you would just design any other interface of your personal device, for example. So I mean, it's more about how to transition. I think you just need to learn a little bit more about the context in which the whole interface sits. So I think not too far from HMI, but still, I mean, like slightly different principles that need to be taken into consideration.
Okay, I hope you found these tips insightful. Thank you so much. Let's scroll down a little bit. There's this very interesting question. All of them are interesting, but I'm trying to kind of cherry pick. So Christian is asking, have you ever tried to use ProtoPie on a car with native Android automotive system to use real vehicle signals? So if you scroll, it's the third question in our Q&A.
And so actually, no. But on the other hand, we know that's possible. and we are not saying that we are not going to do it, you know. The thing here is that, you know, for our prototyping, we're not using the how to say, like the signal from the real vehicle, because, you know, we have our platform. So the whole Digiphy makes that simulation, you know. And an important thing here is that, you know, you can you normally compare also between different cars. You're doing benchmarking, you know. So basically, we know that's possible, and I think maybe I can let ProtoPie more expand on this. But actually, no, we use ProtoPie for different purposes, basically. So more really simulations.
Right. Yeah, so Karan briefly talked about how ProtoPie allows integration with other platforms, tools to have like real in-car data come into your prototypes and integrate that. I shared a link to an article in the chat, and I will also share that in the recording email so that you can check it out. But the short answer is yes, that type of integration is possible. We also support the API plugin to get real data. So yeah, everything is possible, shortly put. Okay, we do have many more questions answered to answer. However, the time is short, and we have a video from Granstudio about the Digiphy platform that that Cecilia will show us. However, I will collect all the questions that have not been answered today. I will share them with the Granstudio team, and I will provide you with the answers in a written piece of content on our blog that I will also share with you via email, and I'll make it available on our social platforms. So yeah, don't be disappointed that we didn't get to answer all of them, but thank you for sending us your questions. Cecilia, would you like to then share your screen? Karan, if you could stop share for a second.
Yes, of course. So thank you, Julia. And yeah, this is a bit about the project that we developed, the Dragon, and we developed actually thanks to the Digiphy, since there were a few questions about Digiphy. Actually, this combination of virtual and physical reality allows us to really squeeze the time of the design and development of the project and arrive to the best result possible. So I'll share my screen. Please just let me know if you can. Okay, if you can see, can you see my screen? I'm not sure I can because I'm not sure you will hear actually the. Let me know. Can you hear the audio? No. Oh, mannaggia. Oh. I'll try again. Not. Okay. Let me know if you can hear, because otherwise I can share the link to the video. Okay. Can you hear the audio? No.
Yeah, I'm sure not. If you could share the link with us.
Yes, I will probably share the. Yeah. I will share the link to the YouTube video so everybody can see it.
Thank you, Cecilia. Yes, I will get all these resources and share them with you in my follow-up email with the recording. We will be able to see the videos and and an explanation about the Digiphy platform of Granstudio. Okay, we are approaching the top of the hour, which means we need to start wrapping up the webinar. Thank you all for joining us today. We hope you found this session insightful and inspiring. I know I did. Thank you, Lukasz, Claudia, and Cecilia for sharing your expertise on using ProtoPie for HMI and XR prototyping, and for showing us how Granstudio creates seamless car experiences. And thank you, Karan, for walking us through the powerful benefits of ProtoPie for automotive prototyping. Lastly, a big shout out to the ProtoPie team for making today's event possible. I really, really appreciate your participation and look forward to seeing you at our next event. Until then, yeah, take care and stay creative. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, team. Thank you, Granstudio team. Thank you, ProtoPie team.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.